Louie, training camp has always been, or I think always, has always been a vital part of what we do on Royal Servants. What what's the purpose of training camp? Why is it so vital to our mission trips?
First of all, before ever taking them out of the country, we want them to be somewhat of a unit, a family, a group, because they're coming from all across the country and sometimes other countries. So they need to blend their lives together. Number two, we need to help them understand what the guidelines are for their functioning as a group. You can call those rules. I prefer to call them guidelines because they're positive. Number three, we want to establish some basics in their walk with Christ. We don't know where they're coming from in that walk with the Lord. So to sit down the basics of the Christian life, help them understand what a relationship with the Lord is all about, teach them some of the basics. In addition, how to share their faith, giving them a tool in which when God opens their mouth, gives them a divine opportunity to do so, they will know how to begin that conversation in sharing the Lord. Number four, we want them to have some kind of a skill, music, drama, etc. So in maybe in open air situations, parks, street corners, etc., we can end up drawing a crowd. And that gives us an opening also when we're through to say we've come to share a faith in Christ. If you'd be interested, we'd love to chat with you. And of course, they're already mixing with the crowd when that statement is being said, and they enter into conversations with people that are interested in pursuing it further.
Louie, we've always worked really hard at training camp, like whether it's obstacle course, whether it's work projects. Why is that? What's the point of doing the hard work we do at training camp?
Yeah, it's all about relationships, all about relationships. Before we had a camp of our own and we were just going to camp and doing work, that was our financial obligation to the using their facility. But I usually had, on several occasions, camp directors that were greatly upset at students because they were leaning on their shovels. I always told them that we would finish the project. How we finished the project was not their concern, as long as it was done and it was done with excellence. And when they would complain to me, I would say to them, if a kid was leaning on his shovel and talking to somebody else, that's relational. Because sitting across the table from a student talking to another student is not very relational. But working side by side, sweating together, obstacle course, work project, skill groups, all of those things are about relationships. I had one student way back in the early years of the ministry who tried everything he could to be sent home. That's when training camp was 2 weeks rather than 7 to 9 days.
Yeah.
On the last night before we were to fly out, we were having a sharing time. And he said to the group, he said, although I wanted to go home because I didn't know anybody when I got here, and it's always about my struggling with acceptance, I found love here, and you couldn't make me go home. He was quite a kid. He was lovable, but he was a frightened boy. But in the relationship building, it's one thing for mom and dad to love you. It's quite another for a group of strangers to really start developing a friendship, a love relationship. And when I can't stand your stinky feet and can still love you, maybe there's something to this loving.